Carl and Lou here from Brrrrains A Head-Banging Life, gbhblofficial for short. And it's track by track time, you see in the title. And unusually we're doing an EP, but not quite an EP, if that makes sense. This is Discharge's Why, the fourth EP by the English hardcore punk band Discharge, released in 1981. I wasn't even born. On Clay Records. It reached number 1 on the UK indie charts in 1981. What the hell is the UK indie charts?
Was it Record Shots been more of a thing back then?
If you're about to say it's independent,
No.
That's what literally indie is.
Yeah,
I get
know.
that.
Yeah.
But it was reissued in 2003, and this is the important part, with 12 bonus tracks. That is what we are doing. That is what we've chosen this EP, because you think of an EP. We ain't got much to talk about, and it's Discharge, and there's like, most tracks are a minute to a minute and a half at most. But we are doing the reissue that effectively doubles the length of this, turning into, I think, a 34-minute release as well. Now, if you know this album and you know this band, you'll realise we're in a bit of a quandary here. How do you talk track by track, where we normally go into a little more detail about a album or an EP this big, with this many tracks that all amount to the same thing?
Yeah.
So I initially went with this idea where I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change this up. I'm going to do one word for every single track. Now, I quickly realised that was impossible. So instead I changed it to a handful of words. So instead of having like 3 or 4 lines that I normally write where you're kind of breaking it down, I've gone for a collection of words that either describe the song or just quickly sum up my opinion to get us through this a bit quicker. Because otherwise, I'm literally just writing, noisy, punk, hardcore, over and over again.
Yeah, I was trying to extract how I felt about...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's difficult because ultimately when you get through the first set and then hit the bonus tracks, you're not like... The only noticeable thing is there is a clear production difference between the reissued bonus tracks, where some sound really modern, some sound like they were pulled from a fucking demo, a tape demo, you know?
It's kind of like with the video Nasty, sometimes they have like bits that have been redone.
Yes.
Like, oh, there we go.
Yes, no, I get that completely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are going to go through it fairly quickly, I think, on this front. So, Visions of War. Chaotic noise.
Yeah, I put straight in, which is... I didn't know their English beforehand. And when I found out English, I was like, wow, a lot of this makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because you could easily, if you didn't know the English, you could easily put this down as a sort of New York hardcore band.
And because I see a lot of bands wearing Discharge t-shirts, and American bands, I kind of assumed...
Influence, innit?
Yeah,
Influence.
so it was quite cool to think, oh, they're English, American bands. But yeah, like proper just grossy, grimy, straight in noise.
Yeah, well, we should add here, we should have done this at the start before we got into track by track part, but I'm not that familiar with this band. I know the name, I'm aware of the style, and all that, but if I've ever really listened to them, I wasn't aware of it.
I'm more intrigued to try some later albums as well, a bit longer tracks now. I'm quite intrigued.
I'm more intrigued to see it as a live thing, more than anything else.
A lot of this made me picture live.
Yes,
so,
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Does this system work? Punk, hardcore, fire and ferocity.
Yeah, it feels like 80s punk. That sounds stupid, but it places it in a time.
It does,
for
yeah.
me.
A lot of this is placed in that time,
just like no messing around a 1 minute song, which is a lot for a lot of it.
Yeah. A Look at Tomorrow. Jarring but very energetic. I really like this one.
Yeah. Ooh, bouncy and dark. I like the distorted guitars. So the ones that had more of a bounce to them, I preferred.
Yep.
For me. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a bit mixed on punk hardcore crossover stuff. I'm actually surprisingly a big fan of the chaos more times than anything else, because there are loads of punk bands, loads of hardcore bands with beats and pep and stuff like that. So when you're just doing that, I almost find that more appealing, because I've got so many other bands that are doing the whole boom, 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 you know, that kind of thing.
Point, yeah.
But I did like A Look at Tomorrow. Why? It's a straight thump to the head.
I put a bit too long.
Okay.
Joke. It was. I wanted more from it. Again, some of these songs I'm like.
They just pass you by.
Yeah. Some I know sometimes that's the whole, just what they wanted to do. And our point of it being like an anarchic punk band, was like, well, we haven't got to conform to 3-4 minute songs. But yeah, it didn't really make an impact on me in this one.
Well, I think that applies to the whole release overall. I'd argue there's a massive level of desensitization that starts to seep in as this goes on. Maimed and Slaughtered, I literally wrote, isn't this the same song as before? Generally thought I'd hit repeat.
I put Drum is really solid and punchy. I think they kind of they were known for their like drumming style. I think that became an actual what they were known for, and that's what influenced a lot of bands, like the type of drumming that he did. There was like there was a collective name for it that they kind of he started off. But yeah,
let's know in the comments.
Yeah. I do enjoy it though. I think we picked a difficult one for ourselves here.
It was. I didn't plan this. When I chose, I knew why it was a popular release, but I didn't realise beforehand it was an EP. And when I saw it was an EP, I was like, oh, we're gonna have to change this. And then I was like, oh no, there's a reissued version with 12 tracks. Oh, that's perfect then. Yeah. That's the length.
Summary by summary. Yes,
Mania for Conquest. On we roll. It's easy to get desensitised, but the guitars are solid here.
Feels freshy.
Okay, all right.
Put in 2 words, feels thrashy.
Yeah, all right. That's fair.
Yeah.
Ain't No Feeble Bastard. Love the dirty chug of this one. This is a filthy track.
Yeah. I thought, I'm a fan of the bunchier, the crunchier, bassier sounding ones. It's a good hook for me. So yeah, stood out for me.
Is this to be? Bile spewed right into my ears.
It feels like I'm coming halfway through, but again, that's the whole, just get on with it.
Yeah.
Chaotic Fast, there's no let up.
Yeah. Massacre of Innocence, Air Attack in brackets. Another frenzied attack, but I will say this stage, ain't bored.
It's difficult having to tell songs apart, which we've touched on. It's just solid punk, and the political elements are always present. Like it's like when you look into the lyric, when you actually read the lyrics and stuff. Like
you have to read them.
You could, you could write this album now, and it's still very current. A lot of the stuff they talk about is like, wow, it's very.
Oh yeah, a lot of it really. Sadly, unfortunately, almost. Well, what is it? That's 41 years later.
Yeah.
41 years later, still relevant. Why Reprise? I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't this. It's rough as hell, but very cool.
But the guitars are more erratic, which I liked in this one.
Okay. And that's the EP done. Now we move into the CD reissue bonus tracks, kicking off with the Realities of War. And here there's a notable difference in sound, but the hardcore punk spirit's still there.
Yeah. But a bit of a groovier one here. Guitars are more erratic. So I liked it. I was like, okay, in with another 12. It's not going to take me much longer.
No, it's really not. It's really not. They declare it. This almost has a catchiness to it in a kind of disgusting Discharge way.
I like the chanting element. Yep. Feels like this would be good live. I can picture a crowd like really getting into this one.
Yeah, agreed. It was almost one of my top 3, but didn't make it. But after the gig, almost a bit laid back for them. Not as wild, up to a point, of course.
I like the idea they called a gig an anarchist meeting, and it makes me think of how society would have seen punk culture.
Yeah.
Like a lot of like the kind of discrimination.
Basically, if you're a Tory.
Yeah, and my dad used to dress in like the punk fashion, and he used to go to football matches and they'd take your bootlaces out because they assumed that if you looked like that, you were in trouble.
Society's Victim, spitting up blood, teeth, and mucus.
Nice fixed lovely feel to this one.
Yeah.
I can definitely hear they've influenced other bands. So when you see other bands, you can go, okay, they've got that kind of.
Okay, what's a band that came to mind around this time? Because you just said something there, and it's a band that kind of came to mind for me.
Well, like, I Hate God.
Exactly! That was literally the one. Yeah.
Oh, and the fact that they kind of went to go see this year, weren't they?
Was that what that was? I can't remember.
Oh, was it?
I can't. Was it
Discharge or was it another?
I can't remember, but
I might have got a bit wrong. But
remind us in the comments. I can't look right now. My phone's not with me. Did Discharge play Bloodsuck this year? Because several, including myself, were supposed to have an interview with I Hate God, and it got sacked off because I Hate God wanted to go see a band play instead. Yeah. Which, you know, their prerogative, no big deal.
Yeah.
And I think it was Discharge.
I
think it was Discharge.
Yeah.
Right, what are we up to? Fight Back. Very aggressive, very intense. This is my jam.
I really like this one, and this is another one where you can picture a punk crowd going nuts for it.
Yeah, I like this one too. Yeah. War's No Fairy Tale. Sharp and pointed, but very familiar. Kind of felt like I'd heard this one already.
Oh, I like the fuzzy guitars and the lyrics. The whole War's No Fairy Tale, again, very, very appropriate still. You don't want to know your future, you never stop, think about
always restrictions. Rolling with an intensity that continues to impress.
Yeah, another really strong one. And again, like the lyric writing, when you can actually hear them and when you actually look into them, you're like, yeah, they've actually got some. It wasn't just like, oi oi. It was they were actually thought behind it.
You take part in creating a system. A ringing guitar rhythm is different, but that's about it.
So the guitar is good, but I just can't get into it. I suppose that fits the anarchic nature. I think it was just a little bit too much for me.
Okay, all right. Religion instigates fucking barbed hardcore chaos, is what I wrote.
Groove has a real groove, and drums make it really catchy.
Okay.
So I like that one.
Decontrol, a track over 2 minutes long, which made me laugh. But the sound is terrible in this one. This is the one that I referenced before, particularly. I think this one sounds like a literal demo tape, and I really didn't like it.
I liked it. 2 minutes 34 in length. Are they feeling okay?
Yeah.
Nice groove to it. I like his vocal sound so raw. It sounds like he's out of breath, and I like how that comes over.
Okay.
Sometimes I like hearing that, like Brrraains. They can sound very breathy on record, and I quite appreciate.
But it sounds like shit. There's a big. Do not make that comparison. Do that, man. That's unacceptable comparison. Penultimate track. It's no TV sketch. Simple, straightforward, wild, and uncouth behaviour.
I do like the abrupt ending, and I'm a fan of call and reply chants. I really like that. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think it is.
I mean, it's just a term.
Yeah,
I don't think it is whether it's a right or wrong answer to that.
Yeah.
And last but not least, Tomorrow Belongs to Us. And it's simple enough. I wrote, is this different? Of course not.
No.
That's basically what we've been hearing throughout the entire release.
Yeah, and it felt like everything all at once.
Did it?
I think it felt like a bit more than other tracks, just piling it all in one go.
Okay, fair enough. It is a difficult listen. If you've got to be a fan of this and a willingness to have your not even necessarily mind up, because it's not like it's technically proficient, it's not like it's progressive or anything like that, but you've got to be willing to accept that you're going to hear a lot of stuff that basically falls into the same category, falls into the same sort of sound. You know, there are going to be moments where if you're not paying that much attention, where you're just going to think things sound exactly the bloody same.
Yeah.
Has this made me a fan of the band? I wouldn't necessarily say that. I don't mind this kind of music. I don't love this kind of music. Like every other band that maybe was influenced by them or came out around the same time, with whatever country it might be. I obviously have a more natural affinity to a British punk hardcore band, even though I'm not British myself. I just do. But let's be honest, how many Irish punk hardcore bands are there? I don't really think any off the top of my head. Like this style. You know what I mean?
But there probably is a fair few out there.
Probably, yeah, but like not known names.
No,
I think
no.
if you know of any, drop some in the comments. It'd be cool to check some out. Obviously, tend to think more of like the New York hardcore scene than anything else when it comes to this hardcore punk scene. But yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I enjoyed more of it than I expected, but I also would say I forgot completely all of it, and this was written literally 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah, I feel like this is like if you're putting this EP on, you just put it on. Like it's not like you request tracks on a jukebox. I feel like maybe later in their evolution, which I might check out a couple of I might look at other albums that people have said this is an album you have to listen to.
Yeah.
Further down the road, because they've had a long career. Obviously still playing 2022.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing. But yeah, overall I enjoyed it more than I thought, because again, I'm not like yourself. I'm not naturally drawn to punk.
Yeah.
But I do appreciate more of the hardcore and the lyrics behind it as well. A bit more intelligence to it, which I appreciated. But yeah, I think I'd definitely give it a bit more try for Discharge. That's not ending my journey with them.
We shall see. No doubt they'll come up with a track by track way further down the line. All right, top 3 tracks. Weirdly enough, you would think that, bearing in mind there's so many tracks, we should be completely opposite here. But if you listen to the talk through, I think there was a couple where we kind of both agreed on, and I'd be surprised if we didn't prop up. So you can go first.
Right, I Look at Tomorrow,
Yep.
Ain't No Feeble Bastard, and Society's Victim.
Okay, well, pretty close.
Hey.
Look at Tomorrow's mine, Ain't No Feeble Bastard's mine, and mine's the one that follows Society's Victim, Fight Back.
Yeah.
There's my 3. But I'd argue that there is some interchangeability here, mainly because these are just the tracks I think were slightly better than other ones, rather than, oh my god, that's an obviously brilliant track, way better than anything else.
Yeah, taking it stood out to you more.
More, that's it,
Yeah, you can pick it
absolutely.
out.
Yeah. That's Discharge's Why. You know what to do, you got any thoughts on it? Let us know in the comments.
Thank you very much for watching. If you liked what you saw, please help us out by giving us a thumbs up and hitting that subscribe button. If you really liked what you saw, consider donating to keep the website and channel running by buying us a coffee via our coffee page or picking up some merch from our Big Cartel store. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as via our social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as well as listen to our interviews via SoundCloud, Apple Music, and Spotify. Just search for GBHBL. Games, horror, and heavy metal. What else is life for?